It hits me personally because I just had a friend not too long ago. She pretty much was murdered. Some situations.
Damn.
Yeah, it's actually hit the news. It was in South Carolina. Um,
Yeah. Great Pill, what's good? Let me get your thoughts real quick, Great Pill. I'm gonna put the whole panel together.
all right. Hey man, let me look around a little bit. This is the Nathan, the real Nathan. Last time, long time ago, you used to
Long
guest on my
time.
stream.
Where you, yo, bro? Where you been at, man? Where you been at?
Just been like you, working, taking breaks, like living life,
Facts,
living
facts.
life. Yeah, man. I like real talk. I appreciate because I know I hit you with DM, so I'm glad you're actually doing this stream because I know you're the brother to actually have the real conversation about it. And
Yeah,
very sweet girl, very gullible. Same situation with her a little bit, but
yeah,
she had a roommate, and a lot of stuff happened from there. And the only way he got found out because he was doing knucklehead dumb stuff the same day. And it hit me personally because I'm like, I knew her for 10 years. She's a good
yeah, man. I'm
person.
sorry to hear that.
Yeah, it sucks, bro.
Right.
It's that year. It seemed like it. Everybody's for some reason. Um, but I wanted to address some of the things. Just moving back. Number one, I get it. When we see certain things or news articles on YouTube, let's not make our own speculations about certain things. Let's not gossip about just anything and make up your own story. If it's for you, fine. But when you come on, especially platforms, just be careful what you say and how you say it because you're doing more harm than good. Like for example, we talked to just the rumors. One,
Right.
she was in high school. She really, I mean, not really college. She did have some kind of success going for herself, but this wasn't it. She wasn't a millionaire. She wasn't because if she was, we know millionaires would move a certain way. You know, she did help out with her friends with funding most of the trips. So they just stuck by her. Me personally, I don't believe they planned out to murder her. I do feel like they had plans of just disrespecting her in a horrific way
Yeah,
and putting it on video and making it go viral. But
yeah,
unfortunately, it went a little bit too far than what they planned. So for me personally, I hope all of them get whatever charges to the highest extreme to it, and I hope Mexico take it first, and then whatever's left over, the states gets it.
mm,
Um, what's another one? Yeah, just a friends period. If you're traveling to another country, because I see most people's in the chat, like, I understand you feel a certain way. You don't want to go there because of you see this one incident, but let's keep it 100. People doing the same stupid, crazy stuff here in the States.
over here. Yeah,
Right across the street, somebody slapping, beating upside the bottle and everything else. You
oof.
know, right across the state, it happens. But people just choose to be desensitized to it and just try to walk away from it or just avoid it or ignore it. We do it all the time. Major cities, New York, Atlanta, Miami, some parts of Cali. That's just what we do. So now this just went viral over another country. And so we're actually having a whole conversation about it. So my advice to everybody else, be careful the type of friends you just go on road trips with, cross
Yep.
countries with. Especially again, if she had the funds and all your friends can't chip in, clearly that's a red flag. Your friends just don't need your friends
Don't
just
need
need
to
to
be.
go.
Yeah, you don't need to be in nobody's country if you can't afford to get there. But I will say the only thing I will say, my only pushback on that is that
Mhm.
yes, these things happen over here all the time here in the US. I think the difference though is when you're overseas, there's this
We're privileged.
yeah, there's a sense of privilege. You think that you're gonna get the same level of treatment or you have the same layers of protection, and when you go to some other countries, it don't work like that. You don't get due process in some places. They just, they go off of you look like the person we're looking for, you're in jail.
Right.
You hear these horror stories of people locked up abroad, and they're there for years over stuff over here that'd be minor. I've heard people doing almost 6 months to a year in jail for shoplifting in Japan.
Right.
Where that's nothing but we cry over getting a ticket over here for shoplifting.
Yeah.
So it's one of those things where, to your point, yes, the same thing, but when you go over to another country, you might not get that same level of respect or treated like a person who has a voice. And that's why you have to even be mindful. A lot of people don't realize I make sure when I go to countries, I know exactly where the embassy is. I have numbers to contact if anything happens. If I lose my passport, people don't
Yes.
think like that. You know what I mean? So Yeah, we get too comfortable, man.
Yeah, you got to understand the rules and customs when you go to people. At the end of the day, you are a guest in somebody else's house. People
Facts.
don't understand that, same way. I didn't have the extreme like you went, because I went to Ireland, and the guy was just straightforward. Hey, what you here for this night? Just gave him the whole rules and regulations. I just kept walking, got to
Yep.
my destination. I enjoyed myself. I kept it local. It was a group of friends that we took care of each other. We stayed in a space. Sometimes I wanted to venture out, but I was
Right.
more of the quick, let me go walk around this corner real quick, and I'll come back to my friends. Or we had a meetup spot. These are things you got to have the conversation. Heck, we even have an itinerary what we're going to do time to time. So you got to have those conversations. I never brought my passport with me. I made a copy of it, left it in a safe. So
That's right.
it's those little things you got to think of.
Facts. So let me ask you this real quick.
Sure.
Let me bring everybody up. Because I see the common sense expert. What's good, brother?
What's going on, man?
What's good? Common sense. Let me get your thoughts real quick, and then Dre, let me get your thoughts on this.
Well, first of all, everybody's saying friends, but they're not friends. They're freeloaders, because it's a cold. It'd be a cold day in hell before I finance 6 people to a trip to Mexico.
Facts.
That was just.
I kind of owned you at that time, common sense. I own you if I'm financing all of y'all. I'm just gonna keep 100.
Right, and far as the laws, we are so entitled in this country. We think when we go places, we can just do whatever we want to do, and nothing applies. The cause of death, they say it was a neck injury, but that's the cause of death is one thing. Determining who caused that is another thing. In Mexico, they don't have the technology we have here in Louisiana. Not Louisiana where I'm from, but just America, period. So they might not be able to put a case like that. Then the other thing is, what are their laws down there? We don't have they might not have the law of parties where the hand of one is the hand of all. So we never know what's going to happen. They might walk.
No, that's a good. I'm gonna disagree with that one, but go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, you're fine. I was gonna say I'm not sure either about the laws, and I try to look some up before I was able to get some information, but I don't know anything about their laws. And again, they initially charged her with femicide, which I was kind of shocked. But they said that's what they initiate their charges with, and then they start implementing a more in-depth homicide investigation if they find out this is not murder based off of her being a woman. And so I thought that was interesting. Dre, what are your thoughts on that in reference to this process, and just even what common sense experts said in reference to the quality of investigation?
Well, I mean, I've done investigations with Mexican federal police on certain cases. They have technology. It's whether or not they're willing to use it for tourists, for non-Mexicans. You understand what I'm saying? Because when you look at it, the reason why they said what they said, because any bad reporting kills tourism, and that's part of their infrastructure. That's part of their cash flow is tourism. So of course they're not going to put out the truth. It's no different from schools here not reporting crimes in the schools because it brings the value of the school down.
True.
So, and I'll give you an example. I went to Singapore. Singapore for me was a rude awakening. Not even Japan, Singapore. Singapore has strict rules. You can't have any radical look. If you have long hair, tattoos, exposed tattoos, you're not getting in. When I read that, I thought it was a joke. So I seen some cats get pulled off the plane and put back on the plane, step back to the U.S. And they tell you, on the flight, look, cover. If you have any tattoos, cover it up, because you got to remember that white boy that got caned for spitting on the ground in Singapore. They don't play. So, but in reference to this case, I'm gonna tell you like this, and Grey Pill brought up a very good point. And I think, Nathan, I told you about this. As an investigator, we do way more damage to the case putting out conjecture, emotions, feelings without having facts. And unfortunately, you have so much opinion going out there, it's hard to decipher what's fact from opinion and what's real from emotion. So everybody wants to be heard. Everybody wants to be in the know or to be looked at as somebody that has the information. When in actuality, if you have the information, you're keeping your mouth shut. Okay, because yes, she's a black woman, and unfortunately, the black race don't rely on law enforcement. It doesn't matter what country they're in. So what's going to happen if things don't happen the way they feel it should in Mexico? Folks here, oh, you're going to start seeing bodies dropping in Charlotte, North Carolina, off of opinions, rumors, lies, conjecture. Because I want revenge for Shanquella. She can't hit it. She didn't defend herself, so I'm gonna offend her. And you're gonna start getting some copycat stuff, and then you're gonna start getting the threats, and it's gonna ruin the case. Okay. So, and you have to understand, Trash Can says about RICO. You're not going to get a RICO if they have to be an organized crime. That you have to create a nexus to show that the crime that was committed was in reference to extortion, to betterment their organization, to profit what they're trying to do, and it's organized. Right. You have to prove it. And the thing is, what folks have to understand is, it's not what you know, it's what you can prove.
Right.
It don't matter what you know. That's irrelevant. Can you prove that John Janae did this, that Winner did this? Can you prove it? Because the more you talk about it, the more you create scenarios, the more you think that you want to know, other than reporting to what comes on the news. If you do not have any pinpoint knowledge where you spoke to somebody directly involved with what's going on, not third-party information, you got to think about it, that they may be lying to you. You're not getting facts.
Right. Does RICO even apply in Mexico? Probably not.
No.
I mean, you got cartels.
Yeah,
they don't even charge cartels with RICO. They don't have that.
Even with them, the money circulates with them. So it's like, why even bother? The police station's like the officers get paid what $300 a month. So really, I'm not trying to arrest Nathan or even barely. I'm not even going to try to shoot him because guess what? Then I got to go and deal with that. Nah, I'm gonna keep my little $300 a month.
They probably been better off calling the cops and paying them off. To be honest,
correct.
Now that the whole nation's involved, there's no way they're going to get from underneath this because now they've put pressure on the U.S. government to do something about it. And the U.S. government is limited on what they can do. They can only do what the Mexican government is asking them to do based on their investigation.
Now, in actuality, there's one loophole that nobody's talked about. Everybody talked about one thing, but went around it. You have to determine where were they when they, if it's true that they emptied out her account, where were they when they did that? If that happened in the U.S.,
yes,
the U.S. can be involved.
Now that's where the nitpicking comes from. When that comes right there, that's the nitpicking.
That's correct.
Right.
So if it was a thing where, well, let's take it back even further, because if they planned this on U.S. soil and this was a premeditated act that they were going to plan this trip, commit the crime, assuming that if the crime is committed in Mexico, they can get away with it. Well, the whole collusion of this whole act started on U.S. soil. Or conspiracy. Yes. Conspiracy happened on U.S. soil, and then they wanted to get access to her bank account and rob her. Then you're absolutely correct. But let me ask you this though, Dre, because this is an interesting piece because the feds handle wire fraud because it goes across multiple jurisdictions. Would that should also work for overseas as well? Because when we used to work cases, not to clown any country, but we have a lot of fraud cases in certain countries more than others, right? All right, cool. Shout out to Nigeria, right? Hey. So we would work a lot of I'm just being honest, a lot of my fraud cases that came from those email scams and stuff like that, they would work the leads, and it comes back to somewhere in Nigeria, right? We would start the investigation, and if it was a good enough dollar amount, guess what? We would forward it over to the FBI. And so they have jurisdiction to do other stuff, right? So I wonder if this would even apply, if this also would apply in this circumstance, if they drained her bank account, it's a U.S. account, but they did it while they were in Mexico. I wonder if the FBI can get off on that and make a connection there.
Well, they won't be able to charge them with the murder. They'll be able to charge them with conspiracy for cyber theft, financial card theft. They'll be able to hit them that here, and they can actually work in conjunction with the State Department in reference to levy those charges. What you have to understand is also, we can charge them and have Mexico house them.
That's true too.
That's a good one.
You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So you have to understand that, because I'm seeing, I was reading the chat, and everybody's like, well, how come they're not arrested? How come the feds haven't came got them? Let me tell you something. I'll put in the chat. If the case is not ready to be prosecuted, they don't have all the facts and they're not ready. They're not coming to get one person. They're coming to get everybody, and they do it at the same time.
Yep.
Yeah.
It's a coordinated effort. Okay. Everybody, what happens is you'll go to, and I've been party to quite a few of them, and I'm gonna tell you, I don't care if you carry a gun or a badge, it's probably one of the most intimidating things you'll ever be part of. You know what I'm saying? You'll sit up there and you do what's called you have your briefing, and then you get your ops plan in reference to what you're gonna do. You get your deconfliction to make sure that nobody else is, going to hit them, and then they tell you where you're gonna be. When you hit, everybody's on the phone. Everybody got their watch synchronized. And I'm telling you, when I say synchronized, all right, by the T. And when they say 4 o'clock we hit, as soon as that second hit 12, boom, entry. And everybody's coming out. And all you're going to hear is mass arrest because they are a party to the crime. You don't know who's actually speaking, who actually giving out information, who's actually cooperating. But if somebody is cooperating.
Yep.
But all those who have gone on social media and lied and said this, the conversation, we don't know what they actually told law enforcement.
Thank you.
That's true.
So everything that we're getting over, social media is third-party information, beliefs.
I will say this though, Dre, and I say this a lot too. People get too comfortable on these live panels, just in media, period. So that will be the downfall as well.
Yeah, but the thing is, you said that you didn't believe that it was planned, that they planned to kill her, right?
Correct.
So I agree, but here's the thing: the gravitas, the unmitigated gall for this woman is to spend her funds, which goes into. You can't tell ill of the dead, but you want to fund half of this, half of your. You're gonna put your money, your hard money, pay half for a trip. And allow yourself to be disrespected on this trip.
See, I agree with that, but this is where it comes. This is where it comes to me with intent, right? So let's say I'm that guy. I'm housing all y'all. He might, Nate might be short 10 or 20. Mr. Common Sense might be short 100, but I'll make it work. Y'all my boys. But guess what? They and you and Dre, y'all them buddy. So y'all whisper behind the ear and Common Sense. He look a little bit innocent, so he might be the guy holding the camera. The next thing you know, one thing led to another. I'm the guy with the injuries and now it's my demise. But I still can't fault y'all for that. But what I can fault you for your intent to harm, not to intent to kill.
See, but here's the thing. Here's the thing, but it goes into character also.
Correct.
Because at the end of the day, I'm sorry, first of all, if I don't have enough money going on the trip, hey, I ain't going. I'm just not going.
You're speaking logic.
I'm not going. Yeah. But Nate's my boy.
Yeah.
And if I'm going to fund a trip for his birthday, I'm paying for Nate's trip. I'm not paying for everybody else's trip.
Facts.
You know what I'm saying?
Right.
I'm not doing that. And because Nate shouldn't have to come out his pocket for his birthday. If I'm his
what
boy,
you mean? I'm homies too. Remember that 3 weeks ago? I got you that one drink for $20.
Now we good. I'll get you back on the drink. I'll get you back on the drink.
I'll fly you in on Spirit Airline. How about that?
No, not Spirit.
All right. Frontier. We get you on Frontier.
Back hurting already.
Right.
But that's the thing. You have to and then you have to also look at they had nothing to lose. When
correct
me, if I'm going in there and I see that, damn that, I got a career I got to go back to. Hey, I need to chill that shit out.
Right.
I'm not getting caught up in no bullshit. Because as soon as I get back, hey, I'm gonna be Charleston White like a motherfucker. I'm telling.
Right.
Because you can't implement me. Because matter of fact, I'm gonna ask you gentlemen a question. How many people do it take to keep a secret? How many does it take to keep a secret? How many people?
Myself.
Right. One person. Right. It takes one person to keep a secret. Yeah. So what happened over there is not a secret. Some folks can't hold water. True. Come on now. If you walk down the street, you find $20. You the first person, hey, I was walking down the street. Look at God. I found $20. You can't hold. Right. You can't. We can't hold water. We got to share it with somebody. We are social people. You know what I'm saying? And listen. You got to remember, my best friend has a best friend who has a best friend who has a best friend. You understand what I'm saying?
Right.
Yeah, Nate could be my best friend, but I'm not his best friend.
Mm,
You understand what I'm
Mm-hmm.
saying? And folks don't
Yeah.
understand that. Oh, that's my friend girl. No, that's not your friend. How did y'all meet? Oh, I met her through so and so. Oh, then that's not your friend. Do she call you without that other person on the phone? And do you two hang out without this person? No,
Right.
that's not your friend. Do you have your own individual personal relationship with this person outside of this other entity? No, that's not your friend. If the only time you get together is when this one person is in town, these are not your friends.
yes.
You know what I'm saying? Because I had a conversation with my ex-wife and I broke it down just like this. I said, when I send a message and say I'm coming up to New York, all of a sudden I'm in a group chat and everybody's saying, hey, Pop is on his way up. This is what we got going on. Boom, 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 boom. This is what we're gonna coordinate. This is where we go. All right. Who can make it? You can't make it? All right, cool. When my ex-wife was going up to New York, she had to call everybody and then get everybody to come together just to hang out. And I asked her, I was like, yo, when you go home, do they set up anything for you or do you have to coordinate everything? I said,
Mm-hmm.
these are not your friends.
Yes.
Exactly.
Right.
I said, and these friends are, I said, your friends celebrate you. They, and I said, especially when you deal with women, women inherently are competitive amongst each other and jealous. When they feel that they're better than you and they feel
Yeah.
that you do not deserve the
You
opportunities
have.
that you have. You should be dating this dude. I'm better than you. I can do this. I can do that, whatever. And it goes into the saying, single women keep women single because they're hating. They want to be you. They know the numbers. They know that they want to replace you. If I don't have a dime in my pocket and I can't keep a job, but yet I have a friend who every time I turn around, starting a new business, got cash flow coming in, is talented, I'm hating. But I'm going to get there. I'm gonna be in her pocket because I'm trying to whatever scraps for. I'm trying to pick it up. And you
I
got to
agree.
understand that. I mean, I have no brothers, all sisters, and I got all daughters. I see the cattiness. It's not a sisterhood as well as the sisterhood is. I'm gonna do my dirt, and we're gonna keep it within because there's no accountability, not even amongst themselves. And it's not a man woman thing. It's a character flaw
Mhm.
I would like
because
to get. I would like to not to cut you off, Jay. I would love to hear from some women
when
in reference
women,
to this.
correct.
Yeah, in reference to this situation, and just kind of how they feel about what transpired, and is there any truth to? Because this is what we're saying earlier when chaotic truth was up. We're just chaotic truth was obviously he was alluding to it, but well, he wasn't alluding to it. He was very straightforward with it. He was basically saying that, women, a lot of sisters get together and they just clash. We've seen it. I've seen it. Dre's talking about the
Yeah.
cattiness. This is something that we are well aware of. And it's not to bash. We're not here bashing women, but we're simply making an observation. Even women will tell you this, right? And so I just women can go on a trip. See, if I'm around guys and I know that I'm not liked within the group, I'm not going anywhere with y'all. You
Correct.
know,
Right.
and it's weird because women are different. Women will know that they don't get along with a group of girls. They know that this girl is a problem or that this girl's hating on you, blah blah blah, and they will still interact with one another. They'll still hang out. How many women have we dated, you guys? And they come back and they'll tell us information about their girlfriends. I'm like, oh, I can't stand her, and blah blah blah. I said,
Instantly.
you
Right.
just was over her house. You hanging out with her every weekend,
Instantly. I would literally see
right?
one be cool with me, walk to her, cool with her. The next know one like, oh, that bitch. I'm like,
Yeah,
huh?
Yeah.
yeah.
That's what they
I thought
do.
y'all was
That's what they
friends.
do. Yeah, yeah. You know, I just my thing is, I don't. I try to look at it, and I like Danita brings up a good point. She says, "Please remember that these are a group of very young people that are not wise or experienced. They need older, wiser men to teach them and warn them." I will say
You
this.
got to listen to wise men
Yeah.
when
That
they
part.
impart that. But that's the
That
problem. They had dudes there. Dudes. Now here's the thing. Like, yo, are you so thirsty or trying to get some rump on a trip to Cancun that you would sit back like, hey, I ain't trying to ruin my chance. She already said she gonna give me some. Do you, boo? And we
I don't
go.
even know if all of
You
them
know
are
what I'm saying?
straight or not. I don't even know if those guys are
Yeah.
straight or not. I don't
Yeah.
know what
That's a good point
Yeah.
too.
That's a
you know.
good
They
point.
they could be because what does that look? First of all, they couldn't have been if first of all, my girlfriend, wife, whatever, is not going on no trip with other guys, and I'm not there. I don't even know if she's going on girl trips like that.
Well, first of all,
That
I don't care if they're
brings me.
gay. They still got Johnsons.
Yeah.
That brings me
Yeah.
to another question because
Right.
I didn't want to put fault on anybody else, but just as a father, Dre, if one of your daughters decide to go to that trip, how would you handle that? If she
Huh?
say, "Hey,
Easy.
Daddy, I'm going to a trip to Mexico with 6 ratchet friends," how would you
Well, here's the
handle that?
thing. My oldest daughter is in the house now. She came in from college, and she tells me about who she has problems with. I'm like, you ain't like, why would you want to go to somebody that you don't like? It's going to be a problem.
Mm-hmm.
This is unless you two came together and like, look, this is going to be our retreat to fix ourselves. Yo, you got to understand if you've ever been on a group trip, everybody, like you say, you plan out the trip or what you want to do, but you always gonna have that one person like, man, I'm just gonna chill. I don't want to go.
Mhm.
Dudes will be like, all right, fuck it, chill, and everybody else will go. Women be like, come on, bitch, go, don't be like that, and
Yes.
they'll go left. But the way I would handle it, I'm like, listen, you do not leave estates with folks that one, you wouldn't allow to sit at your dinner table if they were in, that you wouldn't let them sleep on your couch, that you wouldn't even bring to my house. If you haven't brought them to my house and introduced me and they can come and open up my fridge, they're not your friends. They're not somebody that I consider a friend because if you can't introduce them to me, they're not somebody that you want me to even know. That means you don't need to be going anywhere with them. Then you have a dude filming. She is butt ass naked. Filming. So how comfortable is she
Mm-hmm.
are they to have another dude in there filming while she's naked?
Yeah, he's not straight. That's
Exactly.
he's not straight. That's what it is. He's suspect. So that's the whole point. This was a girls' trip with the with the male besties, right? And I
And the boyfriend didn't go. So it goes to show you, like,
Right.
look,
What?
I
Yeah.
ain't trying to be around them, you know what I'm saying? Them
yeah,
dudes.
because you got these zesty guys. It's this the thing, man.
She had a boyfriend?
Yeah.
Yeah, she had a boyfriend. When I see stuff like this, and let me get your thoughts on this common sense expert, because this is one of the questions I wanted to ask you in general, because what does it say? What's the impression you get when you have someone who is carrying the load of or carrying the freeloaders on a trip, right? She's paying for everybody. Somehow they talked her into going on this trip, and she's covering everything for everybody. That says something about her and her relationship to her friends. You know what I mean? It's that girl, or I won't say girl, it's that person who's the only one in the group that got a car, right?
Hmm.
You're that person. You know what I mean? What were your thoughts when you found out that she covered the trip and everything like that, and it's the one who ended up getting killed?
I thought that was the start of the downfall because when you have people that's not on your level, things can go left. They don't have no money, so
Yeah,
now they're dependent on you. So now if you cut them off, hey, I got to do something about this. If you that's like you letting somebody stay in your house rent free, and then you put them out, they liable to take you out. I mean, I'm sure you like I've been on calls where they get evicted, they don't want to move, so now somebody got to go,
right.
and it happens like that all the time, and I can only imagine if they get them phones and do a forensics preview on the phones and see what's been going on because
Yes.
I've seen my examiners when I work with them, they can get everything on their phone from the time you bought it to present day.
Yes.
It don't
So
delete.
it
Yeah.
don't need nothing to delete. They can search warrants for your account, see where you were when you did this or that.
Yep.
Listen, I wrote 4 search warrants. I told Nate, that's why y'all haven't seen me on YouTube. I got two. Look, I've been busy. I done wrote 4 search warrants for cell phones, and I'm telling you, I already just got data back from one. You can't delete it.
Yeah, you
You
Okay.
got to
can't.
see what people don't that's on your level. There's no reason for you to be paying a trip for 6 people. How much money is she making? Because
More than
all I
that.
heard she's like a hairstylist, but they don't make that kind
Well,
of
She
money.
had a
well, I
she had a
will say,
boutique also. She also
yeah,
had a
but
boutique.
even still, though, the fact is Mexico dollar
It's
versus
cheap.
ours, it's not that
Yeah.
high. So you're pretty much living really good. You can get a apartment for like $300 or less a month, but now they're talking about condos wherever they're at. So they
They
were
had a
doing pretty
villa.
good. Yeah,
No,
they're
the
doing pretty
villa.
good.
But the
Listen, I've been.
transportation over there, that's
It's
America.
cheap.
You gonna
No,
Yeah, it's
pay
cheap.
the
$50
flight,
per trip.
the airfare is where the money's at. But
Correct.
that villa in Los Cabos, Cabo San Lucas, is probably no more than $150, $175 a night
Correct.
for
It was
spot.
good. Yeah.
Yes. See, that would get on my nerves if I got to fund everything. I'm not, nah. You too far in my pocket.
Tell you,
And
I
I'm
owe you.
feeding you too.
Common, I owe you, man. If I pay all that trip and feeding you, I owe you.
But that's why unfortunately, you see a lot of us going to Mexico, right? Cancun and things like that. A lot of us don't jump too far past, brothers. We on the panel here, we've gone past 6-7 hour flights, right?
Yes.
And so
23 hours.
It's 23 hours for me too. When you take these long flights, it's a different mentality, different maturity. Different amount of money being spent. The further you go, the more expensive it is. Them plane tickets almost $2,000. These are people. You have a little bit more maturity when you take those long flights. It's cheaper to go to Florida. It's cheaper to go to Vegas. It's cheaper to go to Cabo. It's cheaper to go to Mexico. And so what you get there is no, let me not say that. Unfortunately,
Let it out, man. Let it out.
Listen, I've been trying to be good about. I don't want to sound like I'm bashing, but unfortunately, you get what you pay for, and so you see a certain type of behavior in areas where it's very inexpensive to be. But when you go out in areas that it costs you a little bit more to get there, you see you see less of the foolishness, you see less of the debauchery, right? Let me ask you guys this: what is? I want to get you guys as closing statements, and I want to get your thoughts on the lessons, because I'll tell you how it's going to end, and Drake can tell you how it's going to end. They released warrants for one person. Depending on how this investigation pans out, and reference to Dre brought up a good point about the conspiracy. Depending on how things lay out, where they happen, but they tapped into her bank account and they stole that money out of her account. The feds will get involved in there on that standpoint, and best believe they're going to massage these charges on them to reflect that murder. Believe you and me, right? So the feds will make sure that they get the treatment they deserve. But I'm really curious to see how the rest of this unfolds. But just to be completely honest, you guys, the feds have everything they need to make an arrest, to actually apprehend them. They know where they're at. They've I'm sure they took them on the no-fly list. They're not getting anywhere unless it's going by car.
They got no money.
They got access to the bank account. They're tracking them. I assure you, they're not going to get far. If you guys had to give a lesson, what is the moral of the story? What can people learn from this? Men and women, it doesn't matter, just in general. What went wrong? What are your thoughts on this? What's the lesson behind this? How can we not repeat this? Great Pill, let me get your thoughts.
I'm gonna be harsh about this because I feel like
keep it real.
I feel like and this again, back to experience with my friend that what happened to her. I think everybody plays a moral degree to this because, again, I'm not a fly on the wall. I know how to. That's why I asked Dre how he would handle it. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
He seemed like he handled it great. I think he'll be in his daughter's behind about this situation. Like this is not it. I don't feel comfortable with it. You're just not going to go refuse it, right? So I feel like, it sucks that the father had to go through the motions to go through, but just by the opposite stuff I listened to, the interviews, I think that from the beginning, he should have been on his daughter's behind from day one. Court her, his little girl's friends. Hey, these is not your friends. These are not the real ones. If you're doing good and you moving forward in your life, you don't need to be around these certain people. The same thing I told my friend, all the time. But unfortunately, now she's that hard-headed one and she don't want to listen and she still want to go forward with the people she want to travel with. I can't fight that. But I'm going to still be that friend, that father, that uncle, that guardian, and I'm going to still be in your behind about the right thing to do and how you carry yourself because your life is on the line, especially if you're traveling outside these countries. Number two, I can't say it no better than this. If you're going outside these countries and you have a father, or uncle, or friend that you really are close with that actually travel more than once, not just going to Mexico, because you can take a cruise to go to Mexico. You know,
Right.
some real countries, some real places, some real travel experiences. Have those people you trust under your belt, under your wing to go with. You know, that's what you need to do. Do your homework when you go into these other countries. It's not funny. You have issues over here, just got issues over there, but the only difference is the rules are different.
Right.
So please keep that in mind. The Philippines, they got strict. I don't know if you know this, Dre. Strict rules about no violence, no guns, no drugs. You pretty much got to walk in there with a smile on your face because if you don't, they're looking at you, pointing at you like he
Right.
might be that one. You know, so think about that. Don't take your life for granted, especially leaving outside your house. And I'll leave it like that.
Facts. I like what Half Past Fashion said, and she's absolutely true. You know, unfortunately,
Mhm.
I've seen this. Dre has seen this. You know, investigating crimes. You'd be surprised. A lot of parents have absolutely no control over their kids. You
Correct.
know, we hope to give them as much wisdom as possible, in hopes that they're going to actually utilize it and put it uh, in play. And sometimes they do, and sometimes they don't. And it's very unfortunate. It's very sad, and some people are more hard headed than others. But she makes a good point. At a certain age, a lot of parents don't even know who their friends are, their kids' friends are anymore. You know, so I would say, you know, parents, you know, maintain the best relationship you can with your kids, and as we become from kids to young adults to adults, you know, be transparent with the people who care about you. You know, your love's supposed to start and end within that home, within the core of your family. For those who have a good core family, but it's hard. Some people don't, right? Um,